Wolf's Rain was produced by Studio Bones and aired in Japan from January 6, 2003 to July 29th of the same year. It aired on Adult Swim a year later. The show was written and created by Keiko Nobumoto. She curated the screenplay for Cowboy Bebop and worked on many other animes such as Akira, Samurai Champloo, and Tokyo Godfathers. The music was produced and arranged by the legendary composer Yoko Kanno. The animation is pretty good, and Studio Bones does an amazing job as always. The character designs are well done. Each character stands out from one another, having their own unique style. This makes them feel like real people. This is also helped by the great character writing, which I'll go into detail about later. In the beginning, Earth was filled with only monsters. Mother Nature opened up the gates of paradise and released wolves upon the land to vanquish them. The wolves then used a part of their body to create humanity. Many years later, 3 separate families called the Nobles were formed. The Darcia family, who rule Ariel City, the Gyro family, who rule Lost City, and the Orcam family, who rule Free City. Let's start with the Darcia family. Lord Darcia I was the founder of his family and the author of the Book of the Moon. It's a book that details the origin of the wolves, the nobles, and paradise. Darcia was obsessed with reaching paradise, so he harvested lunar flowers and created flower maidens, humanoid female flowers that are used as a key to open paradise. This new power made the other 2 families very jealous, and the 3 families fought over this ability to open paradise. Darcia I successfully opens paradise, but it's an artificial paradise. What he didn't know was that only wolves can open up a true paradise, and this cost him his life and set a curse on the future generations of his family called Paradise Sickness. Symptoms of this curse are directly shown in Lord Darcia III, who has his right eye turned into a wolf's eye. The curse can also be passed to people outside of the bloodline and affects them differently. Darcia III's lover, Lady Hamina, contracts the sickness, and it takes her soul. This leaves her in a vegetative state. Darcia's only life goal now is bringing back Lady Hamina by opening paradise. Next is the Jagro family, who is probably mainly responsible for the near extinction of wolves 200 years ago. Lady Jagara is the identical older sister of Lady Hamina, and she is jealous of her sister and Darcia's love. She blames him for Hamina's sickness. Lady Jagara is bent on using Darcia I's method of open paradise by using a machine that uses lunar energy from the moon and the blood of a certain wolf, which will be revealed later. Last is the Orcam family. Not much information is given on them, but in the beginning of the anime, they have possession of the flower maiden Cheza, and they are perfect creation, and have scientists studying her. The family is led by Lord Orcam, a very wealthy man that rules over Dome City, but gives nothing to his people. His city lives in poverty. The 3 families are fighting over possession of Cheza, and each want to use her for their own reasons. Okay, we're done with the history lesson. Before I start, I'd like to say that I won't be going into every single detail, but I will summarize the events and cover the main plot points in the story. Without further ado, let's get into Wolf's Rain. Right off the bat, we're shown how the people of Dome City live. A group of thieves attack one of Orcam's ships for supplies. The group is led by Sume, a wolf disguising himself as a human. He comes off as an angry loner and doesn't accept affection from anyone. We first see an example of this when a member of his group, Gale, tries to bond with him, but he constantly pushes him away.
Don't touch me!
Sume's backstory isn't revealed until late into the show, which is fine because it fits with his personality, so I'll come back to him later. Next, we're introduced to a man named Kent and his dog Blue. He enters a bar and talks to the bartender. It's revealed in their conversation that he hates wolves. Kent used to be the sheriff of a town named Kudios. The town was destroyed and his family was killed in the destruction. When he returned home, he found wolves at the scene. He's now an alcoholic, and his hatred for wolves is the only thing that keeps him going. He travels around with Blue, his family dog, and the 2 hunt wolves. Next, we meet our main protagonist, Kiba, a lone wolf who came to Dome City on the scent of Cheza, the flower maiden. When we first see her, she's being studied by a woman named Cher. Kiba and Sume eventually meet, but end up fighting. Kiba leaves. As Kiba walks through the town, Ken shoots and injures him. The police capture Kiba, and Ken is taken in as well. Ken is questioned by a police officer named Hub. Hub is the ex-husband of Cher.
Dr. DeGray, you've got a call. It's your husband. I mean, your ex-husband.
Kiba awakens in a cage and is greeted by another wolf named Hige, who seemingly wanders into the keep because he smells something interesting. The two team up and break out. As this is happening, Sume and his group are doing another hit on the nobles. While they flee the scene, Gel falls to his death and Sume fails to save him. The next day, we meet a wolf named Toboe. His first scenes tell us exactly who he is. He's a non-violent kid who can't hunt for his own food.
Nigga, you gotta be ashamed of yourself, nigga.
He has an affection towards humans. Toboe used to be the pet of an elderly woman, but in an act of playfulness, he accidentally kills her. Hub and Cher meet up and talk about finding leads on Kiba. I really enjoy watching these two on screen. Through their conversations, you can still tell that they both love each other. The reason they split up was because of Cher's work. She was offered a job by Lord Orcam to study Cheza, and at this point in her life, she was having a midlife crisis and saw it as a great opportunity. She then got too wrapped up in her work and the marriage ended. Kiba and Hige get captured again on purpose to get closer to Cheza. Toboe meets Sume, but Sume tells him to get lost, distancing himself as usual. Later that night, Lord Darcy III breaks into Orcam's keep and steals Cheza. Kiba and Hige smell her leaving the keep and escape again. They run into Darcy outside, and he teleports away. The next day, Toboe meets Kiba and Hige. They plan to leave the city at night. Sume's group blame him for Gel's death and kick him out of the group, saying he's too different from the rest of them. They later sell him out to the nobles, and Sume runs. He runs into the other wolves and flees with them. Toboe slips and falls, but this time Sume saves him. The pack finally forms, and they set out together in search for paradise. Before I continue on, I just want to quickly talk about the English dub. I think it's really fantastic, and each cast member gives a great performance. It's filled with legendary voice actors. Kiba is voiced by Johnny Young Bosch, Hige by Joshua Seth, Crispin Freeman is Sume, Toboe is voiced by Mona Marshall, and Darcy III is Steve Bloom. The list of talent goes on. If you end up watching the show, I highly recommend the dub. Cher and Hub are having dinner. Cher tells Hub that she's going on vacation, and she wants Hub to water her plants for her when she's gone. But in actuality, Lord Orcam has tasked her and a group of soldiers to search for Cheza. After dinner, inside, he finds the Book of the Moon. The pack, on the other hand, fight a military robot. Sometime later, the pack come across a city. They find a pack of wolves, led by a wolf named Zali. The pack once tried to reach paradise. They started by passing through a tunnel, but it was filled with poisonous gas from an old war, and most of the pack was killed. The pack returned to the city. Zali shows Kiba's pack the entrance that his pack used, and he sees them off. He believes they can reach paradise. While Darcy is returning to his keep, Orcam's men follow him and fire at his ship. Cheza jumps out and falls to the ground, spinning like a flower. The pack find and meet Cheza and are amazed by her.
She is very gorgeous to me!
Kiba is very protective of Cheza and often speaks for her in an angry manner.
I wonder if she's on edge. I mean, around us. But why?
It's because you're all on edge around her, that's why.
Let's give it to Cheza. I bet you're hungry, right?
Cheza does not eat bugs. Cheza is more important to us than anything else. And if you're a wolf, Tsume, you should know this.
Cheza sings to calm them down and they fall asleep. I'd like to talk about the music for a second.
No regret, 'cause I got nothing to lose.
Onde vai coração selvagem?
We've had a kind of paradise.
Shouts out to Yoko Kanno and the many others who worked on the soundtrack. The next day, they meet an elderly woman who reveals to the pack that she is also a flower maiden, but is different from Cheza. She's a failed experiment of many, called a Hinabito.
You must not go with them.
But why?
It will only lead to destruction.
Are you crazy?
I'm not talking to you.
Kent and Blue arrive in Ariel City. The city's living conditions are pretty much the same as Dome City. Darcy doesn't seem to care much about the people and is mainly focused on obtaining Cheza. Kent goes to a bar and leaves Blue tied up outside. Inside the bar, Kent meets Cher. The pack walk past Blue and Cheza tells her that she's part wolf. The pack leave and take shelter in an abandoned bus. In the morning, the pack leaves Tobaway with Cheza while they look for what the noble soldiers are up to. Cher speaks with an old man, and he tells her that beyond the Darcy cemetery is the force of death, and something makes the Earth's magnetic field go wild, referring to the machine that Darcy the First built. The force now has no animals, has no sunlight, and contains giant bugs.
Cheza does not eat bugs.
Cher goes to the cemetery and is captured by Darcy III. The pack return to the bus and leave at night. Earlier in the city, noble soldiers attack Blue, shooting her chain off. When Kent returns, she's gone. The pack make their way through the forest of death. Cher wakes up in Darcy's keep. He captures Cher because he was lonely and needed someone to talk to, which is hilarious but also kind of sad. But part of it is because she is the lead scientist for Orcam. She asks him some questions, and he shows her some information on Cheza, data that not even her and Orcam even know about. He tells her that Paradise will lift the curse on him and Lady Hamina. He later removes her from the keep and leaves for Cheza. Lord Orcam is assassinated by Lady Jaguar's troops, and his keep is attacked. Darcia finds the pack and attacks them, and Cheza is forced to leave with him. While Darcia was away, Lady Jaguar sent troops to his keep. They crucify his servant, Nige, and take Lady Hamina off life support, killing her. So yeah, Lady Jaguar kills her own sister. Darcia is devastated. Next we meet Blue in her human form. She left Kent in order to try to live as a human. She tries to find a job, but is unlucky. She goes into a warehouse where she meets the pack. Sume doesn't trust her since she's been hunting them with Kent for weeks. She leaves and Hike follows. The two talk and bond. They later return to the pack and Blue joins them, saying she wants to figure out who she really is. Hub and Kent buy a car. While driving, Hub tells Kent his parents were the reason he became a cop. He also reveals he met Cher through a friend. They arrive in the city and split up to look for her. Late in the afternoon, Hub is sitting in the park and sees Cher. The two reunite and have dinner. She tells him she's going back to Darcy's keep. She wants to find out Cheza's true purpose. Hub says he's going with her. They meet up with Kent and the three continue on. The pack is heading for the keep in a snowstorm. They stop to take shelter, but Kiba leaves by himself shortly after and arrives in the keep. Nige is talking to Darcia in his room. He says since Hamina is dead, Paradise holds no meaning for him. Hub and company arrive in the keep. The rest of the pack shortly after. Kiba enters Darcia's room.
You damn wolf. All of this first began with your wretched breed. Have you found it? Have you found paradise? And what do you expect to find there?
A future.
I no longer have any need for a future.
Lady Jaguar's ships return to capture Cheza. Darcia takes Hamina's body outside and teleports away. The pack gets split up while escaping. Cheza, Hub, and Blue are captured. Kent gets lost in the snow outside, and Kiba also gets lost while chasing after Cheza. Episodes 15 to 18 are recap episodes. The pack searches for Kiba. Tobey finds Kent, passed out, freezing in the snow. Tobey stays with him to keep him warm, while Sume and Hike go ahead.
There you are, my good girl, Blue. I'm so sorry. Roos.
Kiba wakes up in a desert and walks until he finds a hot spring. Across from him is a Kero cow. Her name is Mew, and she speaks with him. She shows him the beautiful land, convincing him it's paradise. She asks him to stay with him, and Kiba reveals his past. When Kiba was younger, his pack was wiped out by a fire, and he was the only survivor. He was later taken in by Indians and raised. Once he was old enough, he was told to leave and find his true destiny. So he did, and we meet him soon after in the first episode. The pack meet an Indian named
Eek,
and he takes them back to his village. In the morning, he tells them that beyond the rocks is a land called Desert's Bones, a place where whoever goes there experiences true happiness, but they never return. Before they head out, Tubaway gets scared. and he says he wants to stay with the village. He thinks that he's useless and that he's holding the rest of them back. Sume, Hige, and Iek find Kiba's body and bring him back to the village, and an elderly Indian performs a ceremony to bring him back. Kiba starts to get called back, and Mew reveals that their land is fake, and over time it takes your memory until you don't remember why you're even there anymore. Kiba asks her to come with him, but she can't, probably because her body is most likely already decomposed in the desert. Kiba returns to his world. The next day, Toboe swears to face his fears and never run away again. Before leaving the village, he gives Iek and his dog consent, and he saves him. Hub and Cher are being transported, and the two talk about starting a family after all this is over. He supports her dreams and encourages her to see this all the way through. The trucks are ambushed by Orcam troops. Hub and Cher escape and free Cheza and Blue, but a Jagara ship teleports Cheza and Hub away. Cher and Blue take a vehicle and head for Lost City. The pack goes too. On their way, the pack run into a walrus that attacks them. Toboe takes this chance to prove himself and kills it. After this, Hige leads the pack into Lost City through a shortcut, but he can't remember why he knows the city so well. The pack split up and search for Cheza. Lost City is the most wealthy city of the three. It can be compared to any modern-day big city with a busy economy. It's described by the characters to be super clean and has advanced forms of transportation. All of this is due to Lady Jagara, who uses huge cables that run underground all the way into the keep. In actuality, they're being used to power her artificial paradise machine. Kiba and Sume is shown these cables and use them to reach Jagara's keep. Lady Jagara is informed that the pack has arrived in the city. I'll explain how she knows this in a second. She then tells all of her troops that every wolf has been eliminated. Hige sees a statue of Lady Jagara and starts to get intense headaches. He runs away from Toboe. Cher and Blue are stopped by troops.
We're from a little town called Kurios.
It's strange that you'd come from there. Only because I could have sworn that Kurios was wiped from the planet many years ago.
We burned every inch of that place to the ground. Huh?
Blue attacks them and is separated from Cher. Blue later finds Hige. Kiba and Sume get into the keep but are separated. Kiba makes his way past a room full of soldiers but is injured. He limps towards Cheza's room. Sume finds a room full of dead wolves being displayed like a museum. They all have the same collar as Hige. Hub is put in a cell next to a wolf. She reveals that her pack was led to Jagara's keep by Hige. Let me explain this a little bit more. Lady Jagara, who hates wolves, has a group of her own wolves go out and find other packs. She then has them led back to her, where she then kills them. Afterwards, she then uses the collars on the wolves' necks to erase their memories and repeats the process. This is why Hige was in Free City when he first met Kiba, and why he doesn't remember how he's so familiar with Lost City. It's crazy, right? Wanna know something else crazy? Lady Jagara also eats wolves and drinks their blood. Yeah, she is the true antagonist of the story. She plans to use Cheza and Kiba's blood in order to open her paradise. Hige and Blue are attacked by soldiers and his collar is shot off. He leaves Blue behind and heads to the keep to save the pack. Blue finds Kent and they have an emotional reunion.
Oh my god, Blue!
Cher sees Darcia walking to the keep and she follows. Darcia approaches Jagara. She tells him that the reason she killed Hamina was to release him from his delusion of being able to cure her with paradise. Jagara starts to open the artificial paradise, and Kiba and Darcia are shown Darcia the First with another wolf. This is believed to be what Darcia the First saw when he opened paradise. And it isn't said, but I think it's implied that the wolf that's with him is a relative of Kiba. Kiba then bites Jagara and stops the process, breaking her paradise. Jagara then stabs Darcia with a poisoned blade. Darcia takes the blade out of his body. Darcia then shows Kiba a stone and says that he has been chosen for paradise. He walks away, the credits start to roll, and the show ends. Remember when I said episodes 15 to 18 were recap episodes? That's because the show got canceled. Or at least I think it was. As I was doing research, I found out that the show was well received in Japan, being the third-ranked anime series in its time slot. So what happened?
Shit, I don't even know. Like, I can't even tell you that.
Apparently, the show ran into production delays and missed deadlines, so instead of ending on a cliffhanger, they created an ending out of episode 26. Luckily for us, that wasn't the true ending, and 4 OVA episodes were created to wrap up the story. So no, the show wasn't cancelled after all. Anyways, let's continue with the ending. The pack leaves the city and continues on. Blue and Kent walk outside of the city and see a noble truck driving towards them. Cher tells Hub that she saw the false paradise and says that the real one can only be opened by wolves. Hub asks if they can go as well, and she says no, they have to die out because the new world would be distorted by humans. But in the new world, humans would be recreated by wolves. They find the pack and move on. Falling missiles or ships fall near them in the ice, and one of them flips the car over on its side.
Are you okay?
More or less. Hub, take her.
Sure.
Hub goes to her side. They talk about starting a family again. She then dies. Ken starts to die, but Hub and Cheza save his life. They pull over to rest. Ken gets up and tells Blue that she's not his dog anymore. He says this because he wants to free her and let her live on her own. He heads for Darcia in a dust storm, and Tobue follows. Blue and Hige talk. She tells him as long as she can be with him when the world ends, she'll be fine. Kent and Tobue face off Darcia.
When a human loses something precious to him, he loses his soul along with it. Do you know what that's like?
Indeed, I do.
Darcia says that Jagova's poison is slowly killing him. He then shoots Kent.
It was you, there in the snow. You saved me, boy.
Sume, Kiba, and Cheza run towards the gunfire and find the two. Kiba runs after Darcia and finds him choking Hub. Darcia tells Kiba that he needs him in order to open paradise.
Hurry. Paradise is right under your nose.
The two head back to Tobue and Kent, and the entirety of the pack grieves. Cheza says that their destination is on the horizon. The pack heads on. Sume stays behind to talk to Tobue. We finally get Sume's backstory, and he tells him how he got the scar on his chest. His friends were being slaughtered by troops, and he abandoned them. When he returned home, he was banished from the pack. From that day forward, he chose not to get close to anyone, in fear of being hurt again.
I didn't need any friends. I never trusted them. All I ever did was betray the people around me. Until I met the three of you.
The pack reaches the tree. They start to climb to the top, and Hub falls. At this point, Darcia has given up on using Kiba to open paradise because he fully turns himself into a wolf. He stands above the pack and they fight him.
Shige!
Let's meet again next time in paradise.
Let's meet again next time in paradise.
The two fight again, while Cheza sprouts into a bigger plant. Darcia bites into Cheza, but then starts throwing up, because Cheza's blood has poison in it.
And you are not protected by the flowers.
This is it. The entrance to paradise.
He walks towards the entrance to paradise. He steps one foot inside, but is rejected and killed, just like Darcia the First. His wolf eye is the only thing that's left behind.
Cheza.
The world will close up for a while, and we will be apart from one another.
What should I do? I don't have anything left to protect.
Kiba, because you protected this one, the flowers will return and bloom once more. So when the world is reborn, when paradise opens, we will meet again.
Cheza! They say there's no such place as paradise. Even if you search to the ends of the earth, there's nothing there. No matter how far you walk, it's always the same road. It just goes on and on. But in spite of that, why am I so driven to find it? I hear someone's voice calling to me.
So yeah, that was Wolf's Reign. What do you guys think of the story? I really enjoyed it. I have some more videos in the way, some more reviews. I'm actually working on one right now. I hope there's no copyright issues. I hope this video made you laugh at least once. So yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next video.